Damn, Ingenious made the beat? Yo, welcome to another episode of the Coach Life Podcast Radio. I'm, of course, your host, the Prince of Positivity, Coach Steve. Joined with me, as always, my co-pilot, the Condor Conspiracy. Coach Luna, how we doing, brother?
Good, man. Ready to go ahead and touch another uncomfortable button, but a very necessary button, considering the past few years. A conversation that needs to be had, a little reality check in another sense, in another area of our lives, but a good topic nonetheless.
Facts, bro. Facts. One that I am very, very excited to get to because I need some help in this area myself. So I'm really excited to hear the conversation that we're about to have right now. Join with us, as always, the CEO, founder of the Coach Life Podcast, radio, and brand, the brand about building your brand. Coach Wash, how we doing, brother?
Doing great, blessed. As what's already been said, we about to press some buttons.
Yeah, lately I've been noticing that we've been hitting some hot points with some people.
Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay because it's getting people to start talking. Start talking about some areas that they probably need to have some improvement in. And today's topic is none other than finance. We're going to start talking about finances, personal finances. This is a hard topic for a lot of people because Coach Luna alluded to this outside of the in our pre-show, that what you probably are doing right now, the old school way of keeping up with your finances, probably isn't working as best as you think it is or could. That's some of the topics that we're going to jump into today. We got a packed show and a lot of information to talk to you guys about. Talking about budgeting, talking about emergency funds, talking about debt management, talking about investment basics, retirement planning, which some of us don't even have that set up. And if you are over 30, you probably should have that set up. Just throwing that out there. Insurance, having insurance, basic insurance. A lot of us don't even have life insurance or don't even know the power of having life insurance. Again, just some of the very basic stuff, and even going into estate planning. Again, talking about, your own estate. We're going to talk about a lot of these different topics. Coach Luna, where do we want to start dissecting this pie right now? Because we have a lot of different areas that we can get into.
Well, the first things first, from every book that I've read, of the number one thing you need to go ahead and do, but before we go into spending habits, get rid of all debt immediately. The amount of interest that gets piled on is insane. Insane amount of interest. Okay, I'll just give you an example off of one of the books that I recommend, Automatic Millionaire. Great read. But he talks about how interest on a 30-year mortgage on a, what did he say? I think he used like a $250,000 house and a 5% interest. Said if you just pay the full amount every mortgage, every month, $230,000 of interest ends up getting piled onto your house, on a $200,000 house. That's what it was. If you just went ahead and paid bi-weekly in your mortgages, you end up getting one extra month in there. You end up paying 26 payments, which is if you do it by month, it's 13 months.
Right.
And you end up finishing a 30-year mortgage in 22 years, and you end up saving $60,000 or $50,000 worth of interest off of just using that method that he talks about in there. Same stuff, but pay with every check. And then every time, add a little bit more, add a little bit more. And that compound effect that we always talk about, can't wait till I get to that book. I got to finish my other ones first. But that compound effect, man, we don't understand that power of stacking it up, stacking it up, stacking it up. Stop paying the minimums. Stop. I understand it's very comfortable to go ahead and buy that brand new iPhone or the brand new thing that they just would have put $3,500 worth of debt in everybody's pocket that went ahead and got that little Oculus or whatever the Apple thing is now. You know, I don't keep up with none of that crap. They sucker you in by saying, yeah, you can go ahead and put a $25 down or whatever, and it's going to be $25 minimums and all this other stuff. Bro, by the end of that cycle, how long it was when you thought you were paying 35, you end up paying 65 because of the amount of interest that's getting added onto it. And when you do that, you're also hurting your credit score. Your credit score your credit score and those people that make up all those scores, they pay attention to your spending habits. Really what it comes out to is you're putting down your money habits as far as how you're paying off your outstanding debts. If you're paying down the minimums at all the time, they know on the back end how much interest is going to eat your shit alive. So therefore, your credit score already starts going little by little by little. And if you don't have a second stream of income, or you're not in a field where you can control how much income you're getting, it's going to kill you even more because they already know you're on a set salary. You're making this much money every month. You're spending this much on whatever else it is that you're spending money on. They look at all that. And that credit score is a direct reflection of your habits, of whether it's bad habits of spending and how much money you're actually keeping up with. If they know that you're about to be drowning, their credit score finna go down in a heartbeat.
Coach, Coach, I want to drop this fact on you. The Federal Reserve Consumer Credit Report indicated this was back in 2021. But still, again, this number is just ridiculous. The total household debt in the United States exceeded $14 trillion.
When I read that the average American has $5,000 worth of credit card debt, dog, in the fine writing of all those credit cards, they talk about interest that gets added upon. So another book that I read, I want to say, might have been Automatic Millionaire too. They talk about if you're paying off your credit cards, you want to pay off the one that has the highest minimum immediately, because that's the one that's gaining the most interest.
Right.
So, and the way he writes it, get rid of credit cards, period. Like, and I get it. Listen, I use a credit card, okay? But I also try to live within my exact means. If I don't need it, I'm not buying. And I will literally tell myself, bro, you don't need that shit. A good friend of mine that's been on this podcast before, I want to say it was Rack, and I'm almost certain it was Rack. He told me a long time ago, from a spending habit standpoint, he always told me this, and this is when we didn't have credit cards and nothing like that yet. It was just a basic way of understanding. He was like, bro, if you can't buy it twice, don't buy it. If you can't afford to buy it twice, don't buy it.
I've never heard that, and that is...
I've heard that before.
I love that saying. I love
that
saying.
Yeah.
What it ends up giving you is that safety net to be like, oh shit, okay, I still have a good enough change left. I'm not spending necessarily what I don't have left to be able to pay for whatever I'm trying to pay for.
You can comfortably do what you want to do or what you need to do. And you know
Right.
what's funny? When you go to rent a house or an apartment, they usually require you to have at least double. You need to make at least twice the amount of rent. Your income has to be twice the amount of rent. So that's just a
Facts.
rule of thumb, even for people renting their properties to you. They
Mhm.
force you to do that
So
to rent from them.
So I'm gonna give a strategy that I've learned. That same thing. I went ahead and did a study. I just wanted to go ahead and study myself.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm paying off my car. So what I've been doing is I took that same method of what he talks about with the mortgage and did it the same exact way, but with the car loan. And bro, my monthly payment has already went down in 4 months. It's already went down $70.
Yep. Because
Monthly payment
you got
has
more
already
going
went down.
towards it, more going
You
towards the
put,
principal.
Right.
you pay more, and then
Mhm.
my credit score jumped up as a
And
result.
Mm-hmm.
there are little tips and tricks to paying stuff down and even avoiding interest. Because a lot of people, I used to teach this in my Money Matters class, and there are different interest schedules for like credit cards and loans in general. So if you pay, there's a period if you pay before when you get that due date, let's say your due date
Mm-hmm.
is like the 25th of the month or whatever. A lot of times if you pay like 10 days before whatever, before interest is going to accrue, because there's a schedule in which the interest will accrue. If you pay that due date sooner than later, you can avoid interest in a lot of cases. So
Man,
now it's not compounding on you. And then another tip that I learned, this is actually an old school thing that I was taught a while ago that I used to do. I was taught to call in to make payments towards your loan and it depend on your lender, but ask if be like you said, pay more on it, but then pay early and say, I want to pay more towards, I want this to go towards my principal.
Right. You can segment out the payments.
Segment,
Yeah.
yeah, segment out how much you want to go towards
Mm-hmm.
principal because that's what the interest is compounded on. So as you reduce, the faster you reduce your principal amount, the less interest that's going to compound.
it's crazy. It's like you have to compound to compensate the compound that they doing on you.
Right,
Right.
right. You got to get
Mm.
ahead of the schedule.
Facts. Here's the crazy part, and again, you mentioned this earlier, and let me stop first before we get any further and go any further and talk about anything else. Let's first put out there we are not financial advisors. We ain't
Thank you for saying that.
none
Yeah.
of us none of us have have outside of Coach Wash and his extensive teaching in doing it
Still
have
basics.
exactly. I was gonna say it's still the basics, yo. What you get in here is again a lot of questions, a lot of questions, and then some guidance on some of the things you could do to kind of counterbalance some of those things. Again, I'm working on a lot of these things personally. This is an area that, although I would like to think I'm okay in, I know there's a lot of work that I need in this area because this is an area that you know as you start to make money, when you make some money, you can move things around, and then once you get comfortable you start getting to and I can speak for a lot of people that probably feel like this. You get yourself into a comfortable spot and you kind of just coast, but there's a lot more that you could be doing, right? There's a lot more that you could be allocating towards your retirement, toward investing, towards your savings, towards your house, towards building up your assets. Again, we talked about this off show. Again, talking about your net worth, figuring out exactly what your real net worth is. But again, I wanted to kind of sidetrack just to say again, we're not professionals. This is again just conversation about your personal finances and how you can help improve it a little bit for yourself. Again,
We'll
now,
bring on experts. We'll bring on experts. We're just going off of our experience right now and what we've been through and what we learned so far. As you know, we coaches We still students and we still players in the game.
Facts.
So we are constantly studying and watching film. So
100%.
we just give you a game we have right now, then we bring on experts, and as we letting them speak to you, we taking notes too.
Absolutely.
Hence the reason the name of the podcast, Coach
Coach
Life.
Life.
There you go.
Life.
There you
Life.
go. The life part. That's important. That's important. That's important. So really quick, and Coach Wash, you alluded to something when it comes to this. Again, and a lot of people, Coach Luna, you alluded to this also when you said people feel very touchy about this subject in the very beginning, right? This is a don't talk to me about my money, right? People feel some kind of way about that. Coach Wash, you alluded to this again. We coaches, like, again, we're gonna bring on experts to kind of talk a little bit more about this and get you in the right mindset and start, to get you the help that you may need in anything. There's professionals at any and everything, right? I challenge the people that are listening to this pod and the future pod for some of the answers that we're going to be dropping on you guys. I challenge you to take the coaching, especially when it comes to something like this that could be life-changing. The one thing that Coach Luna said about paying bi-monthly is something that me and my wife try to practice as much as we possibly can. Obviously, things happen. Situations happen. Like, money's sometimes funny. Situations happen. I get it. So, again, when you can do, and I think that's the most important part. Again, can you make a habit out of it? Absolutely. Make a habit out of doing some of those things. But that, again, kind of takes me back to one of the basic things that I kind of want to circle back to, and that's basic budgeting. Creating a basic budget for yourself to stay on track with what you got coming in and what you got going out. Coach Wash, talk to our Coach Life fam out there
Wait a minute.
about.
Are you talking about writing things down?
Oh, we talking about writing things down, bro.
Talking about writing, man. We talked about writing so many times before. The power of writing things down.
Can you please help us as a group, as a team right now, figure out what are some of the basic budgeting things that we can do?
And there are obviously today, and stop having so much fun on here. These devices actually, it's a lot of good resources and tools that you have access to. It's a lot of stuff done for you already. You don't even have to create your own budget sheet. There's a lot of templates out there already where you can just plug and play. Download a household budgeting. You can Google household budget template and get an Excel file or a Google Sheets file that has like some basic things in there. And then you can add whatever things you need to add and just set a budget for yourself. And now, before you even set a budget, now you're just laying out all the expenses you have monthly. And then you're laying out all the money you make monthly. Now you can see, should I have a surplus or are we in the red, after everything's said and done based on where we at. That's where you got to start at for sure. And then from there, you start looking at what you can cut, what you can adjust to create green. And then you can start budgeting where to put the green. We have a surplus now. Now we can look at an emergency fund. So the first thing is laying everything out. And I'll say that bottom line first, you find one of those templates and write everything down. That's the first step that you have to do. Then you can start figuring out what's happening. And you got to be honest on the template, though. Don't lie on the template. So if you know you
I can't
blowing,
put down that I make like 50,000 a week.
nah, well, not even lie about what you make. Don't lie about what you bullshit with.
Man, don't lie about what you owe.
Oh,
Yeah, don't lie about what you owe.
Lie about what you
you
owe.
talking about my habits?
Yeah, you need to see the whole thing. Like now all it's a lot of banking apps now that actually track the stuff for you. There's a lot of cool apps now out there now that they'll hit you up. You spent so and so amount this month on eating out. Like AI is real. Like they'll pick it apart without you even doing it yourself. So
Facts.
you got some tools that you can piggyback off of when you start laying things out, but you got to be honest about everything before you can start adjusting and working on the budget. And the biggest part, what people lie about is the like entertainment money that they spending,
The
how much they spend
extracurriculars.
eating out, and yeah, the going out. It's a lot of people don't want
Man,
to cut it.
times have changed. That little $7 happy hour is not there no more.
Nah,
Times have changed. You go out to the bar, you spending $12 minimum. Minimum.
easy,
That's one
easy,
drink. That's one
That's
drink.
for one.
That's one drink.
easy.
For one drink. That's like the times have changed. Like you
I'm
you
not
are going to spend a lot of money if you go out.
I'm not
Period.
gonna lie, bro. I went to a birthday dinner for one of my guys, and um I think we got an old fashioned.
Yeah, that's 14 hots easily.
Easy.
No, bro. It was $25
Oh, you
for
got gypped.
Where
one
you go?
old
Where'd you
fashioned.
where did you
I didn't
go?
know this until I got all the food and everything and I got back.
That better be the
What
best
is
old
this?
fashioned
Now they did
in the
I did
area,
it Now I
at
did have
least
a
in the
smoke. I had a
Midwest.
smoked cinnamon, they like smoked cinnamon in there and everything.
I've had one
It
of
was
those too
pretty
at a
good.
nice
I'm not gonna
restaurant
lie.
near the house,
It
and
was not bad.
I spent 15 on it. It came out smoking and everything.
But
25.
that was not a good investment. I'm just saying.
I need them to bring the fire that created the smoke. Whatever you did, I want it all to come to the table.
I
Twenty five
thought it should
dollars.
come with a
You
steak,
ain't
is
getting
what I
them.
thought.
Hey, so I kind of want to bring a new age thought to what you're talking about with the whole budgeting thing. Because I'm not gonna say a lot to you. I'm not a big budgeter. I'm not a big budget guy. I pay attention to how much I've been spending.
Hmm.
And I know that if I get over a certain amount of money, I need to calm the fuck down.
You put
That
yourself
you
on
know
a
what I'm saying?
timeout.
Like if I see it get to a certain level, hey, chill the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Like you spending too much. Um, but but again, this book right here, The Automatic Millionaire, flipped my brain, bro. He said the psychology of people. We have put again. He's also the same guy that said make sure you pay all your debts first, right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
He said majority of people when they get their check, the very first thing they do is pay all their bills. And then
He said pay himself. Yeah.
if they have excess money on the back end,
Hmm.
they'll pay them. They'll save that money.
I know what theory
He he's the one that came up with the theory.
Yep.
He came up with the theory of paying yourself 10% minimum, 10%
yeah.
of your gross income every single check. So before they take taxes, how much money is that?
What's 10% before you get your check? Pretty much.
Before you get your check,
Look at your stub.
Right.
yeah, when it says before Uncle Sam got his cut, how
Uh-huh.
much are you supposed to be making?
Yeah.
That 10% right there should be getting in his way, yes, it should be getting invested. But no matter what, for some foundation, put that
Save
shit in
it.
your savings.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we'll dive in. The reason why you don't want to keep it in savings is because it gains no interest. There is no compound interest in a basic savings account. But in my opinion, everybody needs to be able to save, and I agree with him 100 wholeheartedly. You need to be able to save at least 3 to 6 months of an emergency fund.
Yeah.
Americans right now don't have more than 87% of Americans right now don't have more than $1,000 in their savings account.
Yeah.
Can I drop another fact on you when it comes to that, sir?
Yes, go ahead.
They said according to the survey by Bankrate, only 41% of Americans have enough savings to cover $1,000 emergency expense.
Yeah. Yep.
Bro, let's just put it like this. I think majority of people get paid bi-weekly, right?
Most,
Mostly.
Okay,
mostly. Yep.
let's use Jim Bob as an example. Let's say Jim Bob makes $2,100 a check every check. That's his gross. What they're saying is that you should be able to take out $210 and pay yourself.
Yep.
What you do with that 210, you don't go and buy a bottle of whatever. You don't touch that money. You
Yeah.
put it away. You put it into an emergency fund. You put it into something. If you already have and have established your emergency fund, have you opened up an additional retirement account?
Yeah.
Do you know what type of retirement account you need to have? Do you know that whether or not you're under a pension? Do you know whether or not your company is in a 403B? Do you know whether or not it's in a 401k? Do you know the percentage of your check that's going into those? Because if you don't know, you're probably going in thinking that your 401k is doing fine, but they got the minimum invested. And you're still ended up paying taxes at the end of the year because you're making a good amount of change, but Uncle Sam feels like he ain't got enough. So then,
Yeah.
boom, that's where you get hit on the back end.
Yeah.
Those of us like teachers and educators, they screwed us. We can't add money, or especially in Texas, we can't add money or tell them to take more out of our check. We're at a
Hmm.
fixed rate no matter what.
But you have
That's
to, that back to what you're saying though. That's now up to you to open up a separate account.
that's where I'm going. That's where I'm headed with.
Yeah.
You have to open up a different account. And so if you're in an account that does not go into your taxes, theoretically, you should open up an account that is going to help you on your taxes because it's deducting money from your check. You know what I'm saying? Uncle Sam is you essentially you pumping Uncle Sam's pockets. But at the
Hmm.
same time, if you did what we talking about before this, you've already been pumping your pockets too. An investment is pumping your pockets. When you put that money into those accounts, yes, it's helping out them, but it's really helping out you the most.
Yeah.
I said this to y'all, and I really believe this. In your 30s, you should have at least two accounts that are getting funded, whether one is from your job, but you need to have a separate one too. Because the retirement age is 58. Okay. All of us in this podcast are over 30. We're already at the halfway point. We're past the halfway point. 58 and a half is when you can finally touch your money in your Roth if you open up a Roth. And let me tell y'all something. There is not a minimum that you have to open up these accounts.
Nope.
That is the biggest misconception that I learned. I had to learn this shit. I thought I had to have, I'll never forget. When I made, you remember this, Watch, because I was telling you how much money I made on those puts,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Man, I was like, man, I'm about to go ahead, bro. I'm about to put this down on the Roth and all this other stuff. They were like, sir, you don't need any money to go ahead and put money into a Roth.
Yeah.
I said, what?
Yeah.
I thought I had to have this minimum to do this. I'm like, no, sir. Once you open the Roth, do what you do.
Yeah.
Or you can go ahead and invest in an index fund or get a financial advisor and all this other shit. But bro, I'm me. I'm not about to go ahead and have to do that. I'm going to go ahead and research this shit myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do that because it's my money that we're talking about here. I'm talking about the money that's gonna help my family, my future family. Like, I'm not about to play about that. For
Yeah.
what?
I think it's even more perspective in what you talk about today. I feel like they market the what you saying more now. I see more banks saying you know, open up Roth account with as little as $1 or something like that. Or now they start to market it more. I think they realize people were thinking like that. So now they're trying to get more people to invest that way and put their money into the banks. Now,
So
flip side to the savings account, have you noticed a change in this trend? The online banks APYs are going crazy right now. They got some of them at 5% on savings accounts.
What is APY? I have no idea what that means.
Annual
All
percent
purpose
yield.
yards? All purpose yards?
Oh,
So
yeah, I'm with Luna. All purpose yards, right?
so your annual percent yield, so your interest that you gain on your account. And
Mm-hmm.
so they're up to some online banks, they're giving way more than your brick and mortars now. They're up to like
SoFi.
5%.
SoFi is at 5%.
SoFi.
SOFI.
I got SoFi.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't switched over. I fool with SoFi heavy. They've been
Man, like,
moving fast.
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like every book that I read, all these guys have studied millionaires, are millionaires, and all this stuff, bro. And they all talk about you got to have money in different places. Like you just got to
Oh yeah,
have,
that go back to
you have to have an emergency fund. You got to have a retirement account. You got to have multiple retirement accounts. You got to have a tax deferred retirement account. You got to have this, a high yield saving account, a health emergency account, and a health, like, bro.
yeah.
But again, it's those things that you don't know if you don't go out and read, bro. Like just because you open a Roth, and this is another thing that I had to learn when I did these things. I was like, okay, yeah, I opened up a Roth. Open up a Roth and you put money in there, it's not going to do nothing. You have to invest in certain things. So guess where that now takes you? That now takes you to what to invest in,
Yep.
how to invest in, how
How
to balance a
much?
portfolio.
How
Like
much in each area? What you selected to invest in? You got
that, this
different
ETF.
industries. We got
Man, and listen, if you honestly sit here and think that somebody is gonna offer you and give you all that for free, man, you crazy. You better get your ass out there and read a book. Because I'm telling you, no matter how much somebody can sit here and tell you on a screen, it does not do any feasible of understanding how in depth and how deep like this thing can, like, bro. I've been in the market since like 2018, and I'm still learning basic stuff 6 years later. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like you have to continuously study and learn because, like I told y'all, Benjamin Graham, who wrote The Intelligent Investor, Warren Buffett tips his hat off. Him and Charlie Munger, they both tip their hat off. Who are the owners of Berkshire Hathaway? If you don't know, they tipped their hat off to Benjamin Graham and basically said, bro, he gave basically the Bible of how to invest and value invest and find the right companies and all this other stuff. And before he passed, Benjamin Graham said, yeah, he had to revise a version every 10 years because what worked in 1946 didn't work
Didn't
in
work.
56,
Right.
66. And then when he finally passed away in 1976. So if you did not notice, there were 3 different revisions of the book because every cycle, every 10 years, there's a new product. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, dog, these books are amazing. Psychology of Money is another book that I recommend for y'all.
Think about
Keep getting
his.
on it.
Think about how. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna tell you, a Roth IRA is only 30 years old.
Yep.
The concept of a Roth IRA is only 30 years. The 401k is only like 40 years old.
Yeah.
So all these retirement accounts are technically in their infancies as far as how we know the ins and outs of it, especially the Roth. Brother, Roth was after I was born. Think about that, bro.
Yeah.
Like
Still new.
this money building concept, this retirement concept has been around for 30 plus years. And we have always been bamboozled to think that you had to have a certain amount of money to get in the market. You never had to have a certain, bro. If you wanted to go ahead and call and say, man, I want to invest in da da da, obviously all you had to do was open an account.
That's it. A brokerage account.
That's it. You had to open a brokerage account. Like, bro, when I found that out, bro, I just sat there and I had that thought. I was like, bro, what the, like, this is sad, bro. I could have invested in Amazon out of high school or Apple in 2009, $100 in each. Would have easily been sitting close to about 5K.
Yeah, easily.
Like just an example. Because
Yep.
if y'all don't believe me,
You
Amazon shot up to 3K before they
look,
went ahead and did a
that
split.
ain't, and that's a baby lick because you know
Exactly.
they if you think about the boomers, they really feasted and we got left with scraps.
And they
Uh,
didn't. And you know, especially our communities, I don't think they like we weren't
they ain't
taught that,
they
bro.
they ain't
They ain't
know
teach us that, bro.
nothing about nothing. Think
Yeah,
about when
man.
like Microsoft first hit the scene. All the people
Hmm.
that hopped in on that at the beginning, what?
They knew.
Man, but even when they didn't know, it was dirt cheap. Like the stuff, we gotta talk about inflation with this stuff too, and why yesterday's plays are not today's plays. Because even when you catch an IPO today, I'm sorry, that's I keep throwing
Initial
out
public
acronyms.
offering.
Yeah, I keep throwing out acronyms. Everybody don't know what we're talking about. So it's when the company just hits the stock market, right?
Hmm.
They're not starting as low as they used to. You know what I'm saying? You can't.
Private lenders already made their money.
Yeah, like you can't hit the licks like you used to, like the Microsofts back in the day, the Apples back in the day. The same way people was looking at Bitcoin. That's pretty much what Microsoft and Apple was at that time.
That's our most recent example.
That's our
Right.
most recent example of starting extremely low and like hitting a big boom real fast. You know what I'm
Immediately.
saying?
Right.
And so, but it don't come too often. And that's why you got to stay in tune and pay attention. And you don't necessarily have, I think what people get messed up when they start trying to learn, everybody trying to get rich quick too. I think the slow play is doesn't get enough credit. And part of that's because of social media. We got everybody faking the funk. I want to talk about some of them stats again, like what Steve was saying. I think we are so bamboozled by social media. Our country is in a very bad spot economically right now. I would say probably, and I'm just throwing numbers out here, well over 50% of the people that look like they doing good and got you sitting down and out at home because you looking on your phone, they ain't there. The funny part is most of the people that make more than like the lower middle class are in more debt, obviously, because they got more access to credit and they're maxing the stuff out doing what they're doing.
Hmm.
But statistically, people spending moves with their income growth. It's an even, it's an even move, right? So okay, this family was making 50K, now they're making 100K, but people spend more as they make more. They don't look at it. They don't try to stay grounded and be like, man, we making more now. We can go stack this and invest this.
Right.
They start doing extra stuff.
Start living off
Did
of
you know the
just
one
this.
per here's the tripped out part, but I used to teach my students. The 1% that they talk about, guess what the annual household is for the starting point for the annual household income for the 1%. How much do you think the household has to make to be a part of the 1%? What do
Shit.
you think that net worth has to be?
Over 5 to 10 mil.
Yeah, I was
Four
gonna say
hundred thousand puts you in the 1%. That's how broke this
the
country is. People assume
mindset,
it's
right,
millions.
right.
If your household is bringing in 400,000, and it may be a different number today, it might be low. I was teaching this a couple of years ago,
Right.
but at that time, that statistics was 400,000. If you had 400,000 in your household, you were part of the 1%. You
Now,
don't
the
have to be a
book,
millionaire.
that book that I'm reading right now, bro, I'm about 3/4 of the way done. I'm highly recommending it for anybody, but you have to start with those other two before you get here. Because the psychology of money, mind blowing. Be careful who you praise and admire. Be careful who you look down upon and wish to avoid becoming. Some people are born into families that encourage education. Others are against it. Some are born into flourishing economies, encouraging of entrepreneurship. Others are born into war and destitution. I want you to be successful and I want you to earn it, but realizing that not all success is due to hard work and not all poverty is due to laziness. Keep this in mind when judging people, including yourself. Therefore, focus less on specific individuals and case studies and more on broad patterns.
You trying to don't try
Understand
to end the
this.
pod, bro.
You don't have to know the whole stock market or anything like that to know, all right, how my money is going to move. You got to understand that on average, the S&P 500 Okay, just the S&P 500 alone. We're not talking about the Russell. We're not talking about the QQQ. We're not talking about none of that. The S&P 500 has averaged annual returns 7% since damn near like the Great Depression.
What's S&P 500, Loman?
I was gonna say, you
Standards and
mean
Poor's 500, the top 500 companies
There you
in the
go.
country.
the top 500 companies where?
In the country.
In the country. There you go, everybody.
In the
Just
country.
who
Yeah,
you
you
didn't
don't.
know.
You're not finna get foreign and other stocks into the S&P because it's just too much of a risk. But we're
That
not
would
gonna go
muddy
to
the
that.
waters.
We're
But
not gonna go
Yeah,
there. Yeah, we're
exactly.
not gonna go there.
yeah.
But
We're gonna stay with the basics. We're gonna keep checking each
there's
other on these acronyms too.
yeah. So obviously, one thing Warren Buffett always preached, and I didn't really want to go way too far into this one, but I feel like it's something to understand because some of y'all may have these accounts already, like thinking about opening it. Do it. That's me telling you in the head and the subconscious when you go to sleep. Do it. Open it. You need to do it again. Like I'm gonna keep saying that to make sure you do it. All
Yeah.
right. So when you go ahead and invest. And it made sense to me when Warren Buffett said it. He said, man, invest in the things you see every day. Plain and simple. So what do you see? You see Coca-Cola. And look at, and the thing is, look at his portfolio. You can look at the Berkshire Hathaway portfolio and you're going to see what he's invested in. He's invested in everything that you see every single day. The man still eats McDonald's every morning. Now, that's for him. His stomach can process that. I can't. That's another story for another day. But McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, ExxonMobil, Occidental Petroleum, Apple is the biggest ownership. He has the biggest ownership and biggest stake in Apple. You know what I'm saying? He has all of these. But the one big thing that people don't know that Warren Buffett is really highly invested in as well is in ETFs. What are ETFs? The best way I can explain what an ETF is say I don't have best way I could put it in a way better sense
If you
is
don't
let's
know what
go
you're
back.
doing, you need to play with ETFs.
Let's go back 2 years, 3 years ago, before Amazon split and before Apple split. And what is a stock split? They basically go ahead and say, all right, we were worth $2,000. Now we're going to go for a 10-for-1 split. So now if you have one share of Amazon, now you have 10, but each one is worth $200. So you still end up with the same amount of money that you had, but now you just have more shares. That way they can have more people invest, right? So at this time, right after the pandemic boom, Amazon and all these companies, they decided to split, right? Say you don't have $2,000 to invest in Amazon. What an ETF does, and you have to research, the ETF is basically a giant umbrella that has a certain percentage of these companies holding it up. So a majority of these ETFs, whether it's a Vanguard ETF, whether it's some other company ETF, that's another thing you need to study. They have these companies. So it could be like 5% Apple, 4% Amazon, 3% Microsoft, 2% NVIDIA, whatever. All that, and because you're an investor, all that is in the portfolio to look at. Oh, what is this? What is this ETF? What is this ETF like invested in? Like what is it? How did they divvy out their money? Then you can look at the longevity of this ETF. How long has it been here? How good? What is its annual percent? What is its yield annually? How's it moving? You know what I'm saying? Like, look at 2020, what was it, 2022? After the Ukraine war, how did it handle that giant dip that we had just took? And how did it handle and bounce back in 2023? If it came back higher, that is a great ETF to invest in. Why? Because it knows how to handle the lows and it knows how to, and it gets higher with the highs. You get what I'm saying? It's a safe investment. More I've learned, I'm highly, like, I love ETFs because it
That's
takes
safe.
man, it makes
Reduces
you,
the heck out of the risk.
man, it reduces the heck out of the risk. And with ETF investing, they have dividends too. What are dividends? Well, when you're a stockholder Because
Company may
yes,
choose
look,
whether or
hey,
not they want to pay their investors, and a dividend
I'm talking.
is like interest for a stock.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about you, the person that owns one share of Plug because they gave it to you when you opened your Cash App. Okay, you're a shareholder. You're considered a shareholder. Your dividend, basically, like Coach said, it's a payment. Okay, more times than not, they do it quarterly. Okay, so every quarter. So if you've been holding from, say, you open one in January, hell, you can open it before it even gets. If you have that amount, if you have those shares by the first quarter, you're going to get paid. Second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, and depending on how much money you got in those, automatically it's going to put it back into your account. Now, you have to go into your account to make it automatically reinvest. Because if not, it just turns into cash and it just goes right into your normal cash holding in your account.
Mm.
There's a button somewhere in there, okay, or you may have to call and click reinvest the dividend. What does that do? It makes that compound thing automatically happen. So you don't have to sit there and wonder, like, all right, well, they just paid me $40, but I don't see it. Duh, it just got reinvested.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now you got more shares.
Yeah. Yeah. I like ETFs, man. I always say I used to say it's a starting point. I'm like, if you don't know much of nothing and you want to hit the ground running,
It's the easiest way to get in.
find some ETFs. And what a rule of thumb, what I was taught like back in college, I remember talking to this one brother that he used to come up to our school, Steve, occasionally. He tried to start
Oh,
like a group for the black brothers on campus.
yeah.
And
Hmm.
yeah, I held on to this stock book he gave for a while, but he said just as a basic rule of thumb, he's like one thing you can do, look at all the stuff that you buy and at least make some money off of it. Invest in the things that you spend your money
Exactly.
on. If you
That's
100%.
buy
that's
Nikes all the time,
Invest
invest
in
in
Nike.
Nike.
get your money back, bro.
Get your money back. So you can at least start there. So one thing I'm like, in technology is always gonna grow. That's part of the safest things you can do. I'll say that was one of my biggest ETFs to start. I was like, man, I'm investing in whatever ETF I can find. I got Microsoft in that bundle, Apple in the bundle, you name something. But yeah, I'm all,
XLK.
yeah.
Hmm.
I'm looking at technology all day, every day.
If you use a product, if you use an app, if you use whatever, just think about your daily life. If you eat the same brand of cereal, like these are easy things that you can invest in to get to, like Coach Watt said, to start getting your money back, start paying it back to yourself.
Man, and I feel like I need to say this, bro. I did not grow up in the fun. I grew up in a household where I knew what $5 for a week. I knew how to make that stretch. I
Right.
grew up in a household that was heavily in budgeting and saving and all that.
Hmm.
I grew up in a household where we were smart with our money. You know what I'm saying? So I already had that built into my head. I had to learn all this shit about investing and all this other stuff. I got obsessed with it. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I still just love the concept if you can't tell, because all these guys, if you read them, they all started with like they were all small time hustlers, bro. Warren Buffett was hustling freaking newspapers.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Bill Gates started off as a freaking, all he did was he came up with a system, him and his buddies, before Microsoft, he came up with a system to basically print schedules for the school that he was at. You get what I'm saying? A program that eventually went here, went there, went there, went there. And that man literally said that if it wasn't for the high school and him linking up with his boy, Microsoft would have never happened. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's just little success stories or like that. And then just like when I say when you find out that this thing is like literally out there for you, but you have to study it and you can't feel like you figured it out. Like it ain't nobody in these books ever say I figured it out.
I think
Even Warren Buffett.
Hmm.
yeah, I think right now, I'm thinking about when we had Dr.
LeVar.
LeVar
Yeah.
on, and we were answering questions about like the scatterbrain person. I think about that with all this. And one thing I want to emphasize, the more you study, you're gonna find there's so many different strategies and so many from amongst experts. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of different ways to invest and make money. And one to say this is better than the other, but just like I like producing music, I'm gonna use this as an example since I've done it, but like when you come across a producer or anybody creative, you're gonna find different ways to do everything. It's about mastering your niche though, and it's gonna work. You gotta master your niche. I remember I'm gonna use this for any music heads out there that used to play with different systems. Fruity Loops was frowned upon. They were like,
Oh man,
man,
wasn't it?
you making beats on Fruity Loops.
Yep.
That's for somebody who first got their first MPC machine. But they probably started on Fruity Loops too when it first hit the scene.
Yep.
But then when it came out that there were like some big time producers using Fruity Loops, then it was like, wait, you made that using that? I'm like, they mastered what they learned. They mastered what
Exactly.
they were using. You thought you couldn't pump this out using this, but you
They
really
did.
could. You just didn't sit and learn it enough to really be able to produce something that everybody would love. And the same thing with investing. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a lot of different strategies, and you need to find a niche. But learn the surface level of whatever you learn the basics of everything. Learn the surface level, and you'll start to gravitate towards certain things. Like me and Coach Luna, when we was coaching together, we used to be talking about pretty much day and swing trading all the time. We was trading while we was in the coach's office. Like we would meet up in the morning before
Hey,
we got to our next class. We'd be texting
I
each
woke
other.
up.
He'd be like, "You check."
I
Reach out.
listen, bro. I'm telling you, bro. And by the grace of God, I was able to do this, bro. Before that Friday hit, before Rudy Gobert had that incident right before COVID, right before we hit the shutdown, bro. Something in my spirit, when I seen China had shut down, something in my spirit was like, bro, we might have a flash crash over the weekend, bro. So I bought puts on the market. A put is basically betting on the market to go down. And I bought a call on the volatility. So anytime there's a swing in the market, volatility shoots up. Anytime there's stability in the market, volatility tends to go down or chill, right? So I basically what I ended up doing for my gamblers out there, I doubled down. And I was like, shit, if this play out the way I'm assuming, hey, I'm gonna come up on
Yep.
Monday. And sure enough, man, I came to the office, I was telling Wash, I was like, Wash, boy, let me tell you. And then shit, I did it again the next day.
Yep.
Because in the next day is when they went ahead and shut down all the schools.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, bro.
Funny
But
enough, you,
then,
you talked about this on the pod earlier,
yeah,
on a
yeah.
few food pods back.
But then greed. Ooh, psychology of money. Greed sets in.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
start thinking that this is gonna always work. Man, I'll never forget like it was yesterday, bro. I'm over here watching CNBC and I can't remember his name. Bill Ackman, that's who it was. Bill Ackman ass got on freaking on CNBC, and at the time the S&P was at like 340, right?
Uh-huh.
And he said, "Oh, hell is coming," and all this other stuff.
So
So
what?
I'm like, "Oh, I can't wait till the market open. I'm about to buy some puts, right?" Man, look, it went to 320 and ain't looked back ever since. So I'm like, oh no, it can't come back. It can't go back up. Bought some more puts, money. Bought some more puts, money. I'm like, bro, the market
Eventually.
giveth and the market taketh. But
Immediately.
that is with the day trading and swing trading and all that other stuff, bro. And I've had to eat my L's doing that. And that's why I had to like, bro, this isn't like good. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason why there's only a certain amount of people out there that are traders for a living.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason
It's a
because they are
certain
really
level.
good.
Yeah.
So, but through all of this, I was able to start learning what it meant to like read candlesticks and read patterns and, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, draw patterns and understand resistance and support, all that stuff. I was able to do that. But like I said, I became obsessed to the point where I'm following people on Twitter and I'm putting on their notifications so that when they tweet something and it's a chart or something, I'm looking at it. I'm like, I'm trying to understand the lingo because I've never heard. I'm not a finance guy. I'm not a stock market guy, but I want to learn. So they like BTFD. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I'm like, buy the dip. I'm like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had no idea that's what it meant. Or STO, short to open, or you know what I'm saying? Like calling
Yeah.
the top. I had no idea what
All
none of
different
that.
lingo. That's all.
Yeah,
It's all.
bro.
It's like all the goofy shit y'all say on Instagram and Facebook, but it's for people making money though. So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
all the
Right.
LOLs and
Right.
the yeah,
Yeah. All those acronyms
TTYL,
meant something. I
whatever
had to
lazy way
learn.
of saying something.
Yeah.
They that's how they talk like that in their world.
I had to
So
learn that language, bro, because I had no idea, bro, and I wanted to understand, like, bro, how the fuck are y'all trying? How are y'all able to predict this? Like, what are y'all seeing?
What
How
you
do you
looking
know
at?
that if this trend is going down this way, and then if it breaks that line going that way, this thing about to skyrocket this way? Like, how do y'all know this? And then I started understanding, and then more and more, I was like markets, when Jay Powell finna speak, when the oil production numbers about to come out,
Yeah, with
CPI,
different
PPI, and all this
external
other stuff.
factors. Like
No,
I used to when I taught like the basics to kids about markets, I was like, you got to pay attention to all type of stuff. There's economic factors, there's political factors. If you invest in food, you need to look at byproducts or even technology. You got to look at the byproducts of the things that are outsourced to go into something.
right.
Just
yeah,
like with
chips.
yeah, chips.
That's
Exactly.
why Nvidia is shot up to $700 a share.
Yep.
No, they literally just became the fourth, no, maybe the third. They passed not Microsoft. They passed freaking Amazon and Google. They became the third richest company in the world
Yep.
overnight last night,
Hmm.
bro. Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, this stuff crazy.
You know,
Microchips.
there's a I was gonna say you probably need to clarify that because you're gonna have somebody looking up Lays. Um anyway, this is again, I kind of want to segue
Looking
real
up
quick.
Lays.
Right.
Clue bombs.
Right. Man, my ruffles ain't doing well. So I kind of want to go back to this really quick before we wrap up. When we start to talk about finance, and again, for people that don't have the slightest clue about the stock market and IRAs and 401ks and you know and all this stuff, right? Everything from a financial standpoint. Somebody said something a long time ago, and I just heard it again. Um, I just heard it again on a meme, and it said, "Fear is a mile wide, but an inch deep." And a lot of people have an issue with dealing with this fear of finances, right? Again, it's personal, it's close to the chest. You don't want nobody to know how much you make in me, or you don't want them to know how bad off you are, or you don't want to know any of that information, right? That's half the reason why, again, most people don't go to the doctor to go get checked out. Most people don't go, again, just why you don't go get checked out financially. You can do a lot of these financial checks just like you can do a lot of health checks yourself. You just choose not to. Again, it goes back to something Coach Wash said earlier in the pod. It requires you to actually start doing work, start writing stuff down, actually start taking accountability for a lot of these things. And I'll be the first to say, I'm I'm not as physically fit or financially fit as I would like to be, but I'm learning every day and I'm doing stuff to try to make it a little bit easier for myself and make it easier for my son and my daughter and and their future families, right? So when we have this conversation, and it may seem, like, man, this just seemed like this is so far above me. The job that you are working right now probably seemed far above you before you started actually doing it. The school probably felt like that at one point in time. The sport you play probably felt like that at one point in time. The point is, something always feels more than what it actually is until you actually get into it. Hence the reason why I said fear is a mile wide, but an inch deep. Once you get into it, of course you're gonna get wet. It's water. You're supposed to be wet, but it's not as bad as you thought it was. So just get through it. Figure out a way to get through it. Be accountable. Figure out a way to make yourself financially fit. And there's not a better time to start than now.
Yeah, and I would say today, outside of inflation, because I think I read something recently, like it's we're worse than like the Great Recession right now.
Yes.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
so that's a real thing. We're not going to ignore that. But not knowing anything is for damn sure not going to help you. Not adding to your knowledge bank is for sure not going to help you.
Right.
And it may be tough. It may involve picking up an extra job. Your job may not pay enough. I know Dave Ramsey talk about it all the time. I think his response to everybody that called it, and if y'all don't know, Dave Ramsey is a financial guru. A very basic
One of the best.
concept of how to handle debt. He'll tell you, well, you're not doing nothing for the next year or two. Because if you
Pay it
call with
off.
him, pay it off. That's
Pay it
all
off.
he gonna tell you. He gonna be like, you're not going out. You eating rice and beans. It's rice and beans, and you're gonna
What did he
start
say in
off
the
with the
last one that you got
smallest
sent?
debt. He says that to
That's exactly
everybody.
what he
No, I'm
said.
saying
Pay it
though,
off.
and the
He says to everybody.
what was the example? The guy called in. And he said
Yeah, the man
he had
said
what?
He had
he
debt.
just yeah he
How much
said
Student
debt did
loan
he
he
have?
debt.
How
said
much
that
student
dude had
loan
a
debt did he
crazy
have?
amount. I think he said he had like some 60. It was
21,000, I think what it was.
that was it. It was
Yeah.
21,000. Man, I used to play some bad examples for my students. People calling that 100,
Two
200,000.
two
Well, if
stacks.
you coming out of college, yeah, majority of the
Yeah,
time you coming from one of these
Right.
big
this
universities.
one even be all college debt. That's the sad part about it. But
Right.
That'll be another part, man. Y'all ass don't gotta go to UT coming straight out of high school. Get your ass in there, get that damn community
yeah,
college for the low and get the same education.
exactly. But he be like, the next question he asks, he be like, all right, you got this amount of debt. How much you make? And then you look at that, be like, all right,
He
so
said he made 90,000 a
you made
year.
90,000. He was like, pretty much, he was like, you're
So
gonna
live
pay it
on
off.
70 is what he told him. Live
Yeah.
on 70 and pay off
Yep.
your 20.
He
Yep.
said little on 70, pay it off
Pay
in a
off
year.
pay it off in a year. You ain't going on vacation. You're not going out. Obviously, like deeper examples where he literally has told people like, all right, you work how many hours? All right, you need to get a part-time job of rice and beans. You're not eating none. We started with the smallest debt. We climbing from there, pay them off one by one. And we're gonna get you on a 1-2 year plan, whatever the amount was, and then be like, this is your life until it's out of there.
It
And
is.
that's the tough part. That's just a matter of discipline. That's a matter of sticking to the script.
I've seen examples of that. When you decide you want to go ahead and kill those loans and kill those debts, it's definitely feasible.
Yeah.
Like you said, Washington, it's stuck in my head, bro, and I gotta make sure I bring it up. Understand the times you're living in.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you can't have and do the same things from 2019 and 2020. You can't spend the same. You can't. You literally cannot. If you're still having those habits, bro, you are going to be drowning
Yeah.
because everything at a minimum is up 25 to 40%. Everything.
Easily.
Yeah.
Everything, bro. Like there's nothing that you can go into the store and buy that's not more expensive now than it wasn't then. There's
Yep.
nothing that you can go eat at the store or at a restaurant that was cheaper then that's not cheaper now. There's no such thing, bro. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that has stayed consistent is a Costco hot dog. Apparently, is the only thing that never caught. And an Arizona iced tea for 99 cents. Those are the only two things that inflation ain't never hit.
Not
Other than
true.
that,
Not true. Inflation has hit the Arizona iced tea community. Okay, because they charge it up.
no,
He
Yes,
mad
they
about it.
have. Yes,
He
they
mad
have,
about
brother.
no.
it.
Yes, they have. It
Was it
ain't
about
99
one?
cents no more. They're $1.29, and I'm a bit pissed off about this right now.
Yeah,
Hey, well then, hey, there's your proof.
there you go.
So
There you
inflation
If
just
go.
that's
hit the Arizona iced teas.
if it hit the
You
Arizona
know it's
iced tea,
Great Depression is next.
hey,
It's
Hey,
over
so
with.
I'm gonna
man,
tell you, I'm gonna tell y'all some other basic stuff to do. Now, back to the investment things. Before we wrap up, the cool thing is about a lot of these brokerage accounts, they're educational now. You literally do not have to know anything. A lot of them, I could tell you, like Ameritrade, they got very good
I've heard about it. Yep.
like classes and different tools to like teach you from ground level. Like it's like an online class almost.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm talking about Ameritrade. Y'all need to cut a check for real. But if y'all open y'all Ameritrade account, you're gonna get some good lessons in there, man. They teach you everything from ground zero, and they won't even allow you to do certain things until you actually make it
Take the
past certain
class.
to take the class and make it certain points.
Mm-hmm.
They actually set you up to protect yourself from making stupid investments. So it's like, all right, you can't do this particular trade or this particular investment until you have passed this to show competency level to actually try this
So
and potentially have some success in it.
Right.
So it's a lot of stuff out here that actually will help you with the baby steps and walk you through it. Like Coach Luna said, you don't have to have a lot of money to get into it. Back to paying yourself, you might want to open up an account with that 10%, or part of it at least. Maybe throw five in your savings or emergency fund, another five, or however you want to divvy it up. Put part of that money you pay yourself into them investment accounts and start to learn and take a little bit of time out of your day. Another thing that we don't think about is start looking at some of today we have to look at every little thing. And I ain't gonna lie, we just like really start buckling down extra hard in my household, like trying to like stack more money heavily. So I'm even on a harder budget than what I've been before at this point. And to the point where it's like I'm saying I'm broke because I'm not even counting my savings and
Right.
investment accounts. I say I got no money, it's pretty much like I don't have no money. That is off limits. I don't care what you want to do. This coming up, but what we got an entertainment account. What that look like? All right, ain't enough for it. We ain't doing that right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's damn sure not coming out of the emergency fund. It's not coming out of set up different vaults for different things. You know what I'm saying?
That is.
And start looking at all your spending habits, even for your necessities. I'm going to start promoting again. Costco, cut a check to Coach Life Podcast. I'm going to promote Costco. You need to look at things that you can buy in bulk, save, and actually reduce how many visits you make into the store for these items. And then when you look at certain things that you buy, you realize that, like toilet paper, I'm gonna use that as an example, or paper towels. I get that at Costco, bro. That's
Bro, that's
1 month.
all I do.
You know what I'm saying?
Costco
If you
toilet
if you
paper,
running back and forth to
paper
Walmart, I
towels,
don't even go to Walmart's supposed to be cheap. Costco's still a better deal. You know what I'm saying? If you look
water.
at the price per unit for things at Costco, I would say get your grocery budget and your toiletry budget, whatever you do per week, add that money up for the month. Make it a monthly budget. Take that bread to Costco with a list, and I promise you, you can cut your spending habits in half on food and toiletries.
Coach Wash, I did this just as a quick experiment. Me and the wife went to Walmart and we did all our grocery shopping at Walmart. Spent roughly $350, $400. Went to Costco after we, depleted everything. Spent the same $300, $400. we have food for 2 months. So again, the value there
Bro,
is
I'm telling
ridiculous.
you, it's real, bro. And then I say, get people that ain't got space. Invest in a deep freezer, which don't cost much.
Nope.
If you got space or create some space, you can get you a small one. But I'm telling you, bro, you save way more money buying stuff in bulk. Go to Costco, change your life. Promise you. I
Well,
promise you.
Costco sent us this
But
check.
look,
I'm seeing your
Costco.
HEB, so y'all. I mean, I'm
No,
here.
bro.
Everything's
No,
better,
bro.
bro.
No, bro. Man, let me explain
Nah,
you
nah.
something.
We've been talking about it, bro, because she said I eat
Yeah,
like a doggone buffalo, so I food be gone as soon as it's here.
bro. I'm telling you. I'm gonna give you a prime example. So in the quality is better. The food is better. Like the Costco brand, like the Kirkland brand stuff. A lot of that
I
stuff
need to
better than
see
the
what
stuff
color
you
the
buying,
salmon come out. Salmon ain't
bro.
red. I'm on
It's
your ass.
red, bro. It's red. It's red. It's organic. Like I'm talking about fresh. They don't play. I promise you.
That's pretty
You
good, bro.
go.
I'm not gonna lie.
I got. I'm gonna talk about eggs. I got. I mean, was it the last time I went? They had 60. You can get 60 eggs. That's 5 dozens for $11.
Pasture raised.
Yeah.
Organic.
Organic eggs, bro. Like,
Or
yes.
yes,
Yes, bro.
$11,
like like 11,
dog.
$12, bro.
Make space in the fridge. We ain't what?
You got eggs for days.
That's just one example. Like I'm telling you, the fish, even your example with the salmon. Look, they got these wings. They got everything coming like little packs. Like the wings come in like I want to say like it's an 8 pack. So it's a it's a pack of wings that are like
They're like zip,
it's
like
one pack,
shrunk
yeah,
wrap
and
together.
yeah, like they like wrap together. It's like an 8 pack of packs of wings. Dog, they going for like $20. You can host a Super Bowl party
With
like
just that.
with
And this is
that.
doggone.
Like
Now we turning this to a damn Costco promo.
I was gonna
I
say,
Listen,
said,
yo,
y'all
cut the
listen.
check.
Y'all had my curiosity. Now
Look,
y'all have
now,
my attention.
now I have my attention.
but I'm saying like stuff like this, you got to start considering like break some things you have to revisit that you spending money on all the time
Hmm.
and be like, man, I need to see where I could find these things for cheaper right now. And that's where we at the point now is like every little thing where I kind of say it start adding up real quick, bro. And I start looking at like the money that we could put towards certain areas, it was more available.
Everything's more expensive, bro. I'm telling you, bro. I'm not even gonna get into what I spent, but
Yeah,
of getting your contact size fitted has gone up.
yeah.
The lenses for your glasses have gone up. So I'm getting punished on the back end for having bad vision.
That's me too, bro.
Like,
That's me
what
too,
sense does
bro.
that make, bro?
Look, bro.
Ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So how much
Ah,
did you pay for
man.
contacts and glasses? Like
No.
my optometrist said, "You want glasses?" Like, hell no. I'll just take the contacts. It's like, you sure you don't want glasses? You probably should get glasses too, just in case.
I got mine on the way. Next pod, I should be in them.
Yeah,
Yes.
man. Yeah, the frames cost a grip.
Yep.
The lens is a
The
grip. The
lens
look,
is now what's the most expensive part, bro. The
man.
Exactly.
lens.
I used to, and I got expensive taste when it comes to frames, and I don't try to. I'm not a brand whore. It's just even before seeing the brand. The ones I look, I'll be like, ooh, I like those. And you look at the little tag, I'll be like, oh, hell
Oh, that's how
no.
much that costs.
Who did?
You just got an expensive taste. That's all.
These Gucci. No, we ain't doing that. All right. But yeah, we just gonna have to keep it low key and yeah, them lenses start adding up quick. Oh, you want the anti-glare? Okay, check. You want the
Woke up out of there. You spent $35,000.
wait. I thought my insurance gave me $120 allowance
No,
towards frames. Yeah, that's the frame. So the
yeah, you
lenses with
paying
the
for the lenses.
anti-glare and in the tint, and then I'm like, take that off. Take
Yeah.
All right. We
Then
just
then you don't
won't
have
we won't go
anything. You
outside
don't
too
even got your
often. We
prescription.
don't
Now it's just glass.
Nah, yeah, I'm just gonna go to Walmart buy Focus. Fuck
It's ridiculous.
this. Costco get the buy
There you go. I
Focus.
was gonna say
Cut the
go to
check.
Costco. Now Walmart.
Cut the check.
Again, if you like what you heard, hopefully again this helped first and foremost. Again, we are not professionals in this particular arena, but we will have professionals on with us next pod and talk a little bit more about this in some detail from a personal finance standpoint. Before we get out of here, Coach Luna, you got anything?
Yes, I do. I actually thought about this earlier this week before we got onto the pod, like a three-step book approach on how to understand this, like from a level of reading to where it's not like first one I mentioned, The Automatic Millionaire by David Bach. I don't want to say his name wrong. Great book, good, solid start to very easy read. They try to get it. Then where do I want to put my money in? What type of accounts? All that good stuff. The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. Okay. Book number 2. And then I wouldn't recommend, I mean, this one I think you could fit anywhere, but it's hitting home with me now because of my investment strategy and the failed investment strategies to understand why I was making certain decisions and understanding the psychology behind it. The Psychology of Money, I'm sure one more time, by Morgan Housel. I don't know. But anyway, those 3 books right there. And with anything, like I mentioned earlier, times are changing, concepts are changing, the world's continuously adapting. You have to continuously adapt. The habits and everything that you did prior are not going to work going forward. Understand the way things are moving. Pay attention to the world around you. Pay attention to your job. Pay attention to certain things that, like, for example, hospitals, teledoc. Teledoc is huge right now, from my understanding, on people that if they can't make it to the doctor, they'll go ahead and set up a teledoc electronic visit with the doctor so that they can go ahead and get basically the same thing without having to go into the doctor's office.
Mhm.
And
Mm-hmm.
oh, is Teledoc a publicly trading company? Yes, it is. Oh, what's it trading for? Oh, it's trading for $19 a share. That's pretty cheap compared to considering where it came in.
Right.
That's just an example of a stock where you're just like, oh, I've heard of this. Okay. But that doesn't necessarily always mean that it's going to have success. Like the dude, Peter Lynch, one of the best freaking investors out there. He always said he lost a lot of money on this approach a long time ago. He was just like, oh, it can't go any lower. Can't go any lower. But then eventually, it shot back up. But that comes with the research and knowing that the company or whatever it is that you're investing in.
Mm-hmm.
Again, don't underestimate the effect of compounding. Don't underestimate the effect of consistency, repeated routines, habits. Like, step out. If you're wanting to understand it, you gotta go seek it. Like, I literally had this conversation with my homeboy this past Sunday, bro, when we were working out, and it just literally just came down to that. Like, bro, you cannot sit here and expect somebody to have all these answers for you. You cannot sit on your ass and expect someone to give it to you on a silver platter. Just like anything we've always learned growing up as children, if you want it, you got to go get it. And that's plain and simple when it comes to the approach of handling yourself, whether it's financially, spiritually, mentally, whatever it could be. You got to handle it. You got to study it. Find a book. Whatever question you got in your head. I guarantee you there's somebody out there that's way more advanced at this than us, than you, that can give you a basic, very good fundamental understanding of what you're trying to seek. Just got to go look for it.
There it is. Coach Wash.
All right. So, little cut. Y'all heard what Coach Tony said, G. Go read your books. Go get the books he recommended. Study CE, continue education. anybody with a license know what that CE mean. License or certificate in anything, the learning is always going to be a continuous process, whatever field you in. So same thing with this for yourself. Don't let a job put you in to continue education, um, just for the sake of that company, because that's somebody else's baby. That ain't your baby. Take care of
Facts.
your house. That's your baby. So
Facts.
continue education for yourself and keep going. It ain't too late for nothing. You just need to start the process.
There it is. There it is. Start the process, and at the end of the day, trust the process. Again, if you like what you heard, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you want to hear more from your Coach Life fam. Till the next time, family, stay positive, my friends.